I am here at the Levi Plank Farm, and I am on the eastern slope of Big Round Top, which is just over here beyond this tree. This is about as close to Big Round Top as you can get. This house was actually built in the year 1834, or should I say the stone part of the house was built in 1834. And in it was living a man named Levi Plank. Levi Plank then sold it to someone named Sherritts. And then there was a lady named Bertha Sherritts, whose son-in-law owned this house after Plank. He sold it to a man named George Hahn. And George Hahn had a sister who was a nun, a Catholic nun, and her name was Agnes. And Agnes Hahn lived in the house by herself. Being a nun, of course, she had no children. And when she died, the house became the property of Catholic Charity. Catholic Charity put it up for public auction, and in 1964, a man named J. Hartman purchased this for $50,000. This farm that had almost 200 acres along with it, and the acreage is all over here, including the barn and all the outbuildings. He bought in the year 1964 for $50,000. One of the secrets of the farm is a secret road, actually, that we talked about in our Cornelius Hoodlin farm, went back behind here to Bushman Hill and then ended near Big Round Top, which is here in the distance. Now, the barn itself was built in 1842, and there were wounded soldiers that were taken to this barn that were off the fields of Little Round Top. And of course, in 1863, one of the neighbors of Levi Plank was Jacob Weichert. And we looked at the Weichert farm just a little bit further up the Tawny Town Road. And on the Weichert farm, of course, most of the troops from the 20th Maine and the 5th Corps passed right by that farm on their way to their field hospitals, too, at the Michael Fissel farm. So, again, Levi Plank owned this farm in 1863, and this is really off of the beaten path. It is private property, but I did have the permission of Jay Hartman to come here and shoot this video. One other interesting fact as we go by the old barn was in the year 1976, for the bicentennial of our country, they had a Battle of Gettysburg Civil War reenactment that was held on this very farm. The actual reenactment of the Battle of Gettysburg was in 1976 held on the Hartman farm. And I did and was able to procure a brochure from that reenactment. It was the 113th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg, and the 113th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg in 1976 was held on the Hartman farm. And Jay told me it was held right back here where you see the gray colored field. Of course, Wright Avenue today goes up this way up to Little Round Top. But the Hartman farm consisted of on the other side of the Tawny Town Road, that gray area. And then just beyond that, where the tree line is, you can see the car speeding by there. That was Route 15. And in 1964, when Jay purchased the Levi Plank farm, Route 15 had not been put in yet. It was actually rocks. The rock foundation was being laid. And part of Levi Plank's farm was actually destroyed by the putting in of the 15 bypass. Because some acreage from his farm was taken, they reimbursed Mr. Hartman to the tune of $5,000 for the damaged land, which brought his bid from $50,000 to $45,000. So he actually got this farm and several hundred acres here for $45,000 back in 1964. Again, a man named Levi Plank lived here. It was used as a field hospital. It was a house that was standing, that was built in 1834. The barn built in 1842. And this is off the beaten path. This has been the Levi Plank Farm on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.